a monthly scale, and just the value area 68, the row size the 100. This is basically your value area. We're looking for 68% of the volume. For the newer people, once you go through the PowerPoints, you're going to figure out why we use 68 for the value area. We won't discuss it here because you need to put some time and effort in learning, and then once it starts clicking, it's going to be a really nice reward for yourself. Hey, oh, I got this. So look into it, into the PPT, that's 101, and this should be kind of self-explanatory from there. But what we're doing here, I'm trying to figure out the monthly POCs just to kind of mark the key levels. Once you have these monthly value area highs and lows, you don't really have to go far back. Probably 4 months is max. And if you think about this, this run up here that we had, does anyone have an idea why we stopped in track right here, literally to a penny? Into it? No, like why we stopped here? Okay. All right, I'll let you guys explore that. I'm not going to give you all the answers, but here are the key levels that I just identified, right? So I was looking for the current month of August, just kind of where the levels are. The POC, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to extend it that way. So the POC for 2 months, man, what kind of fucking bug is this? And how did it get here? Hold on one second, guys. I have some weird bug in my monitor. It's gonna annoy the shit out of me. All right, you're dead. All right, it's dead. There, sorry. So then we identify the current month because that one usually tends to be retested fairly quickly, and usually within a month, these levels will play a role. So for instance, month of August, value area high is set at 42.52. That's a big level. What we can tell then is the best thing you can do is kind of combine these 3 months. So all the way from June, right? So if you grab this, but I would grab from the run up all the way to here, and you see that the majority of the volume for the 3 months was still accumulated here, right? So that POC of 41.36 is going to be crucial. If we want to go up higher, we really need to break that retest, and then you go to 42.52, which is about 100 and something points that you're going to get. What do you guys see here? This is really important that you guys understand. What do you guys see here? Once I took this cumulative, fixed range profile from here to current, and I can make it even shorter, right? I can go only to the high here, which was here. What do you guys see here?
Where the buyers are?
Yeah, where the buyers are. And the setup that we play a lot and that I'm teaching you guys is a value accumulation setup, meaning volume accumulation setup. They created a major imbalance kind of from here. For a month of July, the imbalance happened right here. And look where we just came back. Do you guys see where we came back?
Yep.
We just tapped, guys. We just literally tapped the July POC. So think about this. Look how beautiful this worked. So let me go on smaller time frames, like 4 hours. So here's our July POC. We just tapped it, guys. We just literally touched it to a penny. I think we're going to go up higher now.
Was that the question you asked earlier?
Yeah, exactly. That was the question I asked. Because this POC here, if you pay attention to this area right here, this is where the imbalance started happening, right? They took it off from here and we went higher. We held this low because this demand here was really weak. If you think about all the demands, this is the test demand. This is not a big deal. And look what happened. If you pay attention to from this demand to this demand, you see what they did? They created a bear flag and we kind of went right through it. Even though psychologically that level of 4,000 is important, but that balance is not so important. There's not much shelf here. You see that there's space, empty space in the current month, and that's below the value area. That means whenever stock dips below the value area, it's going to accelerate. So now look at this area here. What do you know about this area right here now? Who can summarize? You have 2 points.
It's free space.
Yeah, why?
No volume.
No volume.
Hold on, one at a time. Let's see if somebody gets it. Go ahead.
There's no volume.
Why is there no volume?
I don't know.
No buyers.
No buyers, no sellers. And it's the space that's outside of the value area for the
Yes, for both months, yeah.
For both months, there's no value here. Every time, even if you're looking on 5 minutes, if you're looking on 2 minutes, as soon as the stock breaks the value area up or down, it's going to go higher, guys. I guarantee you it's going to accelerate as quickly as possible. Look at here. I mean, this POC is fairly set, guys. I'm sorry, value area highs are fairly set on the monthlies. Like this area here, even if you start in the middle of the month, it's not going to go shift much because it takes a lot of data to shift it, right? The moving averages, that's literally here. So this level here that we're kind of, 4,023 or whatever that I have marked with a dotted line, once we broke that level, we literally, basically what happens in the stock market and the auction theory is, hey, we find more value. We're finding that there's more value to this asset. We want to find the next value where we can accumulate and see if it's rejected or accepted. Now look here. They accepted it. They created the value. Then they created a top value. They went above it. And then the seller is like, man, maybe this is not the best value. Send it back. And they sold it all the way back. And remember, this is simple. If you looked at this, on a smaller time frame, maybe even 3 hours, less than 3 hours, if you're day trading, there was a couple of candles here that were telling you there's a high chance of what? Once you got back inside this value area high.
80% rule.
Yeah, 80% rule triggered. Once you had this here, there was a high chance you're going to go. And just remember, this is on the monthly. Usually for 80% rule, you want to use the previous days when you're intraday trading. But when you're on a monthly, you're not going to wait. I mean, you guys are barely patient enough to wait for 2 minutes for a stock to go up. Imagine waiting, from August 1st all the way to August 19th to take a trade. Some of you guys are itching to take a trade every day. Yeah, it's hard, but that's why the patience is important. Think about this guy that patiently waited here and loaded up on the puts once he saw the 80% rule. And there's people that do that. They will take 2 trades. They'll put $200,000 and they'll make $500,000 here. But he's not glued to the monitor. Okay, so this bounce here was really good. Does anyone know, what did I say in the Discord today about the levels and the importance of certain level? If we break this, we're going to open there, but did we close below it? Anyone? Let me see if somebody's on chat. 39.64. I was hoping that we go below this. And once we break that, once you get very close to this, if we break below this, I would bet my life that you're going to open it here at 39.13. And that's what I told you guys. But they bounced it literally. There was a lot of buyers from July here that were there. So now, what do you guys think the story is for next 15 days?
Accumulation?
Yeah, it could be, but if these people reclaim 40-20, what do you think is going to happen?
Retest August value area low.
Exactly. So then we know where you're headed, and there's no bias. We just play levels. Let's say you get in like this breaks up. If this goes up and then it comes back here, this is a perfect entry. This is a textbook entry for going long. Then we go long here. And your stop loss is literally, you put it at right below 3995. If you want to go down, sure, man, you just go down, you'll take your 10 points loss. But it was well planned and well thought of, right? I mean, it wasn't like me and I was FOMO, yeah, man, this is going to go to the moon, it's going to 4,500. No. You think about these trades, you think about the scenarios that can happen, and you go from there. I mean, let's say tomorrow we gap down, which I don't anticipate. We gap down tomorrow. below, let's say 39.62 gets taken out. Oh, sure. I'll just wait for this little value area to be broken here, and I'll go full positions 3,900 puts. And look at this level here. This is our June, right? And look at this value area high. Just pay attention to it and how the price rejected to it. One, twice, and then look at the cluster that it created here. I'll just extend the line so you guys can see it. Okay, now let's just take a look at it. I'm just trying to teach you guys how to look at this stuff. Now, they're like, okay, well, we broke the value area here. What do we do? They're like, okay, do we go over it? This is what you don't want to trade as much. Was there a nice retest there here? Yeah, that was a good retest. If you got it, you probably would have made money. You would have, got out here somewhere using the shells. I mean, probably some weekly or VPOTs or something to use. You don't want to necessarily use monthly chart for your levels on exits, but the big levels, you want to use them. So now you're like, okay, well, this is failing here, and this, you wouldn't know this level here for July probably here, but I'm sure, 4,000 would be psychological even number in everybody's head. So now if you took over long here, and they like to make traps, right? I mean, they're known, they want you to fail so they can make money. Trading is a, sum zero game. You lose, somebody wins, and you know who you're playing against. So I don't have to go into the details. So now here, you're right up, you dip below the POC, and then you have kind of like a falling wedge. I would call that, a decent falling wedge here. I'm not trying to make this perfect, just trying to kind of give you a visual. You're bouncing it off a major shelf here, and this 39.13 was the previous resistance. You broke above this resistance, and what do we do? This is an excellent entry to go long, and your first exit being the POC. You guys agree?
Yes.
Everybody agree? If this is your resistance, you break above it, and you come here, then you take a long. Does everybody agree on this?
Yes, we do.
You guys, if there's anyone new, that it doesn't make sense, because I'm going to give you an example right now. Is this same picture that I'm teaching you guys, patience, is this pretty much the same here?
100%.
Happens on every time frame. You go up, then they drop it down, then they break it, they broke it here. Do we get in here? No, you don't get in here unless you're a scalper, momentum trader, and have the discipline. You don't get in here. Will I get in here? Sure, I'll get in here, but I know where I'm going to cut it as well. I'm not going to go and hope. I'm going to cut it. And some of you guys have that, the religious belief that something is going to happen when it starts dipping. You can get that shit out. It doesn't work. You let it break, and then on the you make sure that the buyers are there. So think about it. This level from here that we broke is right here. Does that make sense? This long level is right here. And this level of the rejection is right here. Does everybody follow? That's why it's important to play the retests. And then there's another reason for new guys why we play retests. Why is that? Cuban, why do we play retests?
So we don't get faked out.
Yeah, what's the other reason? What else does it give us?
Cheaper contracts.
Better move.
Better move. There's one more thing that nobody's hitting on.
I don't know if you heard me. Cheaper contracts usually.
It is, yeah, because the IV drops, it's against the move. But there's one more thing.
Is it safer?
It's a lot safer, yeah.
Oh,
Hold on, somebody said something. You know what?
you know where your
buyers and sellers are.
You know where the most recent sellers are. Now watch this. We take this retest. Sure, if this shelf was here, trim some. But look at this. Did it not go to the most recent previous high? You could have trimmed here, kept the runner here. It tapped and they sold it off. You see that we made a high here and they sold it off. And then, of course, they came back right to that level of selling off, and then they continued higher. Okay, I'm slowly leading you to a story now. So this is like a book.
Yeah, that's good, Shorty.
So now this is our July POC. We created a huge imbalance here, guys. I mean, you don't take 3960 and run to 4300 unnoticed, right? And as I mentioned to you,
So could you explain what you mean by imbalance? You've said it a few times, and I don't really understand what imbalance means.
when the market's balanced, where's the stock? Is it in a value area or outside of the value area?
In
the value area.
Inside.
right in the middle?
Yeah, it's inside the value area. What you see here, the stock was inside the value area here. The imbalance really starts right here because they accumulated it off of the volume setup. So did you read the volume profile setup?
Yes.
Okay, tell me the first bullet from that volume accumulation setup.
It wasn't the shapes. Fuck, I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay, here it is. It's a waiting game. You want to train direction on a trend. You'll determine if you're long or short. The longer the accumulation, the higher the chance of a trend starting. Okay, so if you think about this, how long were we here? July starts right here, right? Obviously, we were the whole time until July 27th. So 30 days it stayed in balance. It's called balance because is there imbalances in between the value areas? Of course, any skinny bellies, that's an imbalance, means there's no volume. But a true imbalance happens once you break the value area, the balance where the buyers and sellers are happy. Once you break that area, you tend to come back to where you exploded from, meaning where was the volume accumulation? And the volume accumulation, guess what? It was right here. This whole section here that I highlighted in green is where we accumulated to create this imbalance. Imbalance means the stock just took off. We were running pretty wild, and if you go on higher time frames, look from here. You just literally exploded, then you accumulated here for a month of August here, and then you took off again. And look what happens again, guys. This is literally all you have to do is patience and wait. Patience. What happened when you came to August? You popped. We had an imbalance, right? I mean, I would definitely call this an imbalance. When you take a run from here to here, a 5%, 200 points. Hopefully everybody can agree on an imbalance. Now you ran off. And what do you do when you come back to the volume accumulation setup? We're in an uptrend, right? Higher highs, higher lows, higher highs. Here, it's a warning signal for everyone. Here you're making lower highs, and here you just took out maybe, once you take out this previous higher low, then it's telling you that something's going sideways because that's a bearish trend. So as soon as you come back here, if you think about it, this is your buy zone. This is your initial buy zone. So even if you grabbed it here, right? If you grabbed it here, you caught a nice bounce. And that's what we want to play on every time frame, whether it's bearish one or bullish. In this case, this is a bullish bounce. And now, even here, when you look at it, now I'm just kind of leading the story where we are. So July POC, we created an imbalance. August, we broke that POC. Not enough buyers to defend this level, and just the government risk that we are experiencing and inflation. They said, we're going down. So now there's two scenarios that can happen. Who knows what they are? Well, three.
You can go either up.
We always go either up, down, or top. I know that.
Re-enter August value area.
Yeah. So the way I see it, when I look at my scenarios in my head, we bounce from here, right? We popped from here. We come back to this. If we pop here, come back, there's probably a 99% chance you're going to go here.
Yeah.
But these sellers right here are much stronger than this value area high because a lot of volume. If you look at this cluster, right, it's a D-shaped volume profile. So we know something about these, right? If we close below 50% on this, what does that mean? Rand, if you read the volume profile, what does it mean if a D-shape and we close below 50%?
We're going to probably start
Sure.
Under the 50%.
All right.
It's a good chance it continues going down.
Thank you. So here you go. If you're below the 50%, there's a high chance we're going to continue down.
That's what I meant.
Month of August was a D-shaped volume profile for the most part here. There's a high chance if we close, below the high and low of it, if we close below 50%, which if you go here, this is our current low. If we close below 41.50, there's a high chance we're going to continue down. And what does this line up with here?
The
PPOG.
POC.
It's always going to line up with the POC. On a POC that's D-shaped, your 50% and POC are going to be so close every time that it's the best entry for short.
It's almost like a magnet, right?
Well, this
is a magnet.
This is what you wait for now. Most people, am I going to play it long? Of course I'm going to play it long off the levels. But here, you save the capital and you get into the puts. This is your put entry here. This is what we were looking for. Does everybody understand the story I'm telling you? Can everybody repeat it? Can you teach somebody what I just showed you?
Yeah.
Say it again.
He said not yet.
Okay, that's fair now. But do you understand how this works?
Yeah.
Okay, and if it doesn't, that's okay, guys. I'd rather you guys ask me and be honest than
Get in there.
a lot of people. And I'll tell you this: when I was in school, I was the only child in every class that said, "No, I don't get it." While everybody was nodding their head, smiling at the teacher, getting the cookie points, and kissing ass, Shorty was like, "There, no, I don't get it. You need to explain it another way." And I would just be in their face nonstop. And when I see people in the Discord here, some of you guys have a lot of pride, and I'm not doubting that you're intelligent, but I'm doubting that you're willing to learn. Some of you guys are delusional that you're learning, trading, and you're trusting yourself, but you did not learn yet. It's better to say that I don't know than to say, yeah, I do know, and then keep doing the same mistake over and over. Some of you guys might know what you call that when you keep doing the same shit over and over and you get the same result.
Insanity. And thank you for saying that, Shorty, because I need to learn this shit, man. I don't know that story you just told. I can some of it, but a lot of it, I can need to hear it over and over again.
That's okay. That's why we record it. You just play it. This was our value area. This is where a majority of the volume happened right here for July. Once we pop from it, there's a high chance you're going to come back to this POC of the July, and then you're going to get a reaction. Does it mean reaction is going to go up and break the previous supply? So if there's demand, and here's something I gave you guys last time. I'm just going to delete these fibs. I'm sorry. I just don't need them. I know where it's at. Last time I gave you a tip, and hopefully some of you guys remember it. If the current demand does not take out previous supply, then it's not good. It's just going to slice through it. So if this demand right here, let's say demand takes out this supply, what should we do next time when the price comes back to here? You buy with whatever you can. I'm sorry, this green area. If this demand here takes this supply here, which is the POC 41, call it 50. If it takes it out and then they dump it, you buy the shitload of calls at July POC. If this demand fails here, you do not trust this demand here. Do you guys understand why? Because
No.
No, can you explain?
Yeah. So if there's a lot more supply here than there's buyers, what's going to happen to the price? If there's not enough if there's a lot more sellers here, just think about it. You're selling oranges. And you have, right here, you have 1 million oranges to sell. Okay? And I'm sorry I'm using oranges a lot. It's just fucking easy to use fruits. I don't know.
I'm in Florida, so
Okay, if I have 1 million oranges to sell, and we don't know these levels, just so you know, we do not know their intentions or positions. Nobody does. If they tell you they do, you run away from that person. And right here, this guy is like, man, I need to buy 250,000 oranges. Okay. Well, do you think he's going to be able to buy 250,000 oranges just here on this level? No. Long orders, they're called iceberg orders. A company or a hedge fund, let's call it. Remember this example that I give you? Think of it as a master order. It's called iceberg orders. If inside this box, there's many little boxes like this one. And if this 1 million is made up of these boxes.
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay, let's call it 4 just to even it out. Okay, so 250s each order. Agree?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, if this guy here that has to sell 1 million oranges, but can he get out of the position at once? I mean, sell 1 million oranges. Can you guys get rid of 1 million oranges in a day?
No.
Yeah.
You have to break it up.
No.
You're going to have to break it up. So this guy wants to buy it here. This guy's like, man, I can give you 25,000 oranges at this price. So they take this order and they're like, man, you know what? We're going to give you a little bit piece of this order right here. This guy's happy. Then they're like, hey, you know what? You bought some oranges from us here before, but you know what? Inflation and all this and the gas price, man, you're going to have to, the auction changes it. I'm trying to grab this crap.
So they give it to him more money.
They're like, you know what? I'm sorry. We can't do it. You have to buy it here.
Raise the price. Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, well, you know what? We have to do it here. And then they date him. And then what happens with the retail? This is the key piece. You know where retail is going to start buying calls here?
At the top.
At the top.
Here, I'll tell you right now where they're going to start buying. Right here. They're going to start buying calls here, and they're going to start buying which calls? Probably 4150s, 4160s. And they're going to say, man, we're going to the moon. We're going to 4200. Well, if this guy has 3 more of these large blocks left to offload here, and you see a herd of retailers coming, what would you do if you still have 750,000 oranges?
Dump.
Raise it.
Oh, you come in here and you're like, hey guys, here's your oranges right here. Take it at this level. And that's how the auction theory works. They're not always.
Sorry.
Yep. They're not always going to give you their intention all at once. They want to bait people. They want to make you think you're going up. They want to make you fearful so you don't buy when you should buy. And then, you know, when humans have greed, they don't want to sell. Like this guy, let's say he bought an average $100 million at 39.62. I am pretty sure that he will take his position and cut it if he's, you know, depends what kind of hedge fund and what they are, if they're limited. But they will take their entries and positions out. They will take profits. It's almost automatic that they positions, right? They exchange hands. Then you have dark pools. Then you have block trades. Like block trades, you know, you don't really see them. They're through private networks, especially the dark pools. They don't show up here or on the bottom. It's like private networks. Nobody sees it, and that's to protect all of us, believe it or not. So there's a lot of factors, right? But all we can do is rely on the volume that we see. Because if majority volume was here, well, I mean, that means all the other traders are going to be around this volume as well. Whether it's dark pool or not, it's going to be associated to this level. That's why we don't put a single level, we put a low range. Like this range here is 4120, 25 points. Somebody might say, oh man, Shorty, you're 25 points. Oh, okay. Well, I'm also buying in a range and I'm selling in a range. So it's even. It's apples to apples. Okay, somebody had a question.
Oh, yes. So in terms of stocks, the million oranges. So if like ES fails that that zone, that green zone that says 1 million oranges, does that mean, so what you're basically saying is that that guy wasn't able to sell all his oranges because it failed?
Well, that guy never sold all of his oranges. He still
How?
has some,
Why couldn't he sell 1 million there?
because there's not enough buyers at that level.
So what would happen? What would be the result of not being enough buyers? Would the stock would it not pass that like supply or?
So if the supply overwhelms the demand in anything in life, it is going to go down, whether you're trading oranges, apples, or stock. If there's more supply of a product, the price goes down. You have a business, do you?
Yes.
Okay. If there's a competitor, 10 more competitors, including Amazon. Okay. I'm giving you a direct example to your life. If Amazon starts buying shoes that are identical to your company's, but since they're buying a large scale, they're getting shoes cheaper. You're selling your shoes for 30. They can sell theirs for 22. What's going to happen to your inventory?
It's not going to move as quickly. There's going to be a surplus.
You're going to have a lot more supply than demand for your shoes. Agree?
Yes.
So if you're going to have a lot more supply than demand for your shoes, what would you do as the owner of a shoe business store? What are you going to do to your price?
Lower it.
Oh, well, you will lower it. Are you saying that since you can't sell it all here, you're going to sell it a little bit here?
Yes, correct.
And you're going to keep selling till you get it all out. But this guy, maybe there's a seller here, because once you break a POC, you will come back to it. You created a great imbalance here, and volume accumulation setup is deadly. I mean, when you come back here, and if this demand here is not strong enough to take out this level, that means the supply is too strong. There's a lot of sellers. So this action right here in the next, I don't know, I can't give you time frame. I would say by September 16th, we'll know. We'll know if we're going to have a leg down or a leg up in this area. If we lose this level right here, July POC, we're going down and we're going to go all the way to the next green zone that you see on the chart.
Same day?
No, not same day. No, of course not. But hey, we can drop 200 points in blink of an eye. 399, 370, that's 200 points, man. It's, I mean, here we dropped from 4.2 to 39.60.
Yeah, we dropped a lot today.
So it's not that it can't happen. I mean, here, look at this supply. You're going from 4150 all the way to 3600. Of course, it took a long time. It can take probably 10 days or so. That's why I say by 9/16th, you should know where we are. If we show weakness as we approach this, or another scenarios that we were talking about, I just want to make sure you guys understand supply and demand. And Ryan, hopefully that helps you since you got the life example there. So now,
Thank you.
if we dip below this level, I would expect this level to bounce here, 39.17. But, you know, you could short this level here, which I would as well. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but you want to be aware of the retest here, you know, 39.60, 39.50. Then this opens up the doors for this guy here. And this is trading more on a hedge fund side than it is on a retail, because retail starts buying here to go here, and retail starts shorting here, and then they get stopped out because it bounced. It didn't really bounce. It's just that this guy had a huge order that he left open, and it's coming back to it. They're going to navigate that price back to that order because that's where the supply is. Okay, so hopefully everybody understands. I just want to give, especially new people, just so you understand it a little bit. Does this help to all the people, whether you're new or old? Hopefully it gives you guys
Getting there.
Yeah.
Helps.
Okay. All right, cool. So now let's just kind of look at the levels, see what happened today. All right, so we got a nice little bear flag. We bounced off of that level. Let me just delete these oranges. So now if we are able to break this as we are pushing right now at the 4,000 level, once we break this, we're going to hop over it. We're going to come back. You're going to go to 416, 420. You know, I would say the most important level for tomorrow for you to go along is what?
August value or low.
Well, I mean, you know, you have the daily session profile. You can enable that. So if you look at it here, so here's the value area low from the day before. If you're interested, you could definitely take this straight over 4,000 and hope and pray that it goes to the next value area, which is about 40.20. So you're going to have that 410 level that's going to have a little bit of, I guess if you want to call it resistance, but not much. And why is it not going to have any resistance between these 2 days? Does anyone know?
Two value areas.
Yeah, it's a gap between 2 value areas. So the 410 is really not an important level. The most important level is right here that you want to be watching tomorrow. The 40.20 and 4,000. If you're able to get in and retest 4,000, you have 20 points to take pretty free. Okay, so if you take this retest, you have 40.20 and that's it. You want to be careful on this level here. They rejected this value area, you know, rather quickly here. They didn't even blink when it was coming down. So if you look at this level here, they bounced it a little bit. They got a nice little bounce and then they literally crushed it. So if we can reclaim that, you know, prior day value area high, then we potentially could even set up for a little bit, you know, 80% rule or whatnot. But here's your, you know, true day prior, because today is the 30th August. You see this value area is still kind of being the pain in the ass for this stock. So they need to hop over it, you know, hold the 4,000, then you go to the next one, which is going to probably be quick, and it might happen tonight. And if you trade futures, just watch it. You'll see. But look at this candle that's building now on 15 minutes here. Let's do it 10 minutes. Look at the 10-minute candle that's building here. And this is on ASHI, so let's see. Here's a full candle here. They're trying to break it. Look. They're trying. They're doing everything they can to break this to come for a retest right now. And let's see. So let them go up to about 406, and then they're going to come back, and then you can take the long. Okay. In terms of shorting, if you're going to short it, if it gets back inside this area, the value area high for today, this is not a bad short level. Does anyone know why?
80% rule.
There's a 80% rule, but this is, let me just go on 5 minutes. It's an 80% rule of today, right? We're still in the 80% rule here of yesterday, and that's what we want. So anything below 39.98, confirmation short would be whatever that value area high is today, but I know 39.96 was a bottleneck for a couple of days, or even a little bit to the left if you look. But at the same time, you know, just, I always say connect your higher lows. And if Scott, if you're online, I don't know if you're on class or not, but this is me connecting higher lows here. There's a lower low, there's a higher low, but I'm connecting one that's basically oblique to the outside. He's having trouble drawing them, so I'm just giving him a little tutorial. You'll see how I connected this higher low and this one is in line. So they are finding symmetrical balance on the bounces. So if you're able to break this, you know, right here somewhere, wherever that happens tomorrow, if you're able to break that trend line, that's an easy short. And where do you get out? Does anyone have an idea?
POC.
Yeah, the previous day at POC is actually really good. So 39.87. So you have 10 points pretty much free tomorrow on ES and SPX. For newer guys, and this, you might say, oh, this guy only trades 10 points. That's okay. I'll keep trading 10 points, but you might need a new because you're going to fail at trading.
I'll take 5 any day.
On 10 points on SPX and ES is pretty big deal, guys. You can make a couple of $100 on that. So don't think when you hear 10 points, yeah, the range is tight. So we're playing what they're giving, and they're not giving much, right? So just keep that in mind. And right now, you know, we're getting into the value area high. What is the rule of a lowercase b? This is a long b, just so you guys know. There's a difference. There's a short b and a long b. But what is the rule of a lowercase b profile? I'm testing who read this. That's all.
Play shorts off high volume nodes near the top of the B.
Exactly. So where's the first node?
Like
you have one
4,000?
right here, right? At 426. You have one right here, but I think they might be able to break this one. If they are able to break this one, watch this POC that's lined up. So you have a POC here that you should not forget about. Look at this, bounce, 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 and then it's pretty strong area. So if you're able to break this, it'll probably go to the value area high. If they want to trap more people, they could jump it up to here and then go down. So if you're going to play the 80% rule, what would be the best reward here? 80% rule between this and this current price. Where would you want to take the entry? You want to take the entry of the break of 427 because that's the value area high that you're targeting. If you break 427, then you see the range is picking up a little bit. You get 18 points here. So this here will be pretty nice because it's going to accelerate to it. And there's an 80% chance, or probably even higher, once you break this, that you're going to go here.
So the break of the POC, right?
Yeah, the break of the POC from August 28 will lead to the value area high because it'll trigger 80%.
Gotcha.
Would you want to wait for a retest of that POC?
Of course.
Okay, just making sure.
And if you see that there's a crazy momentum candle going to right through it, usually it will come back to a POC because look here. Yeah, once, twice. You see the cluster, one rejection here, 2, 3, 4, then a cluster here. So it means the level is fairly important to it. So yeah, I would expect a retest on it rather quickly.
So just like we were playing the 3870 and just waiting for it to come back to 5 each time.
Yeah, I mean, I think I traded 3870, I'm not lying, maybe 14 times today. And I think I was wrong 0 times on it. And they were just waiting, retest, play it, retest, play it, retest, play it. They were just giving money today. I don't know why they did that, but that was good. Okay, so that's the plan for this. Now we're in 12:30 or so. So, and for me, guys, and I need to get you to start doing this more. There's literally nothing more important to trade SPY, SPX, and this than this level here. ES is the most liquid asset that you can have. So this is going to move the markets. SPY and all that stuff is great, but this is what's going to be moving it. Okay. So any questions? Are you guys clear? Here, I'll put notes. Does this help if I do this?
Yes.
All right, let's do short.
This will be on Shorty's corner.
Short. I would use this one here a little bit as a range, just so you guys know. This here, the low range here, short target exit. I wouldn't necessarily wait for that perfect tap on that level, but I would wait that. And then if you break this, you have a little bit of points, 2 points. They're really not worth holding.
Shorty, you gonna post this on your corner?
Yeah, I'm gonna post this. Yeah.
Thanks.
So now we know if this happens and you short below, your first target's here. Where's our second target? If they do this, they go here. Oh, no. If they do this, this is our first target. Where's the second target short?
Value area low.
Value area low. So we got this above. We're gonna play this out right now. Probably could have scalped this for 20 points. We're gonna go up higher. I'm gonna wait for a retest and then I'll grab it. We're gonna go probably here 416, 420. I'm thinking they're gonna push to 416. Well, no, there's nothing there. So 420.
So if we break yesterday's or today's POC, or I guess yesterday's, you're going down to the value area low, but what about the existing POC and value low?
This is going to be a developing POC, right? So it's not going to be a concrete till probably, like maybe 1, 2 p.m. So it depends where this one is. I would expect that they're going to, so remember, right now it's a 3985. If they want this to run, this POC is going to have to shift up into a P-shaped volume profile. you know, unless it's a short covering, this is a lowercase b. They need to flip this volume to be on the upside to get the momentum on this area of the value area high retest in order to go higher. So this needs to shift here. And watch tomorrow. If they're going to run up, this goes on the top. And just pay attention to the volume right now. If you pay attention right here, this volume is, the second volume node is right here. And we took off from this area, right? You follow? Like this area is not going to get any shelves right now until the price comes back to it, right? So the shelf building is going to occur right now here. So we're more likely going to be potentially bouncing higher tomorrow. I don't know what's going on, federal news or any calendars, but they're going to try to push this tomorrow. They're going to try to hold this area for tomorrow. Does that make sense, Bean? Because we're early in the day right now. Because this POC, if this POC is here, you know, for the intraday, yeah, you take profits there. If it breaks below, then you know we're headed to the 80% rule.
Yeah, I guess my question was, assuming that it was breaking down and broke through the short zone, obviously then the POC probably wouldn't be there, but you'd still have the other value area low. I'm just wondering about, you know, would it bounce off of that, or we're going to assume it's bouncing off prior days?
No, you always use prior day POC as a strength. So this level here is going to act as support. They will find support here, I promise you. Because right here, they created a lot of volume was accumulated. And if this is truly, you know, they're going to make higher highs and take out the high of, you know, this area here, value area high. If they're going to run, they're going to come back here. This is going to be a good zone to buy calls, but we need it to go higher. We need it to go and set up this POC, shift it to lowercase p or whatever. It doesn't really matter on the p, but yeah, we need it to shift. We need this POC to show that there's buyers here now. They need to shift it up. And then if it drops, then yeah, this area here will act as a bounce again. So there's a POC here. Rejected here, rejected, broke it, and now we broke it. It should act as resistance. And if it doesn't, if you see it on the first attempt slice through it, then you know the 80% rule is going to be 80% rule. Yeah.
So, Shorty, if the POC stays where it's at and they break through it, then that's when we're talking about the 80% rule. If not,
if this POC stays here, this is a good demand zone that they're going to have, because these buyers are going to be here to protect their long position from here, because this is where they accumulated from it, right?
Yeah.
This is where they got it, and this accumulation happened kind of in the same area. So if these people had the intention of going long, and I'm just grabbing two shelves here, so this whole area right here becomes your buying level, right? So we'll know. We just need them to push this a little bit, tad bit higher to at least, you know, halfway here, at least 410 in between 4020 and 4000, just to show us that they're serious, and they have to shift this POC to the upside.
Yeah, right. So if that happens and the POC shifts to the top and the volume shifts to the top,
that means that the rally is reversing. Yeah, that means there's a reversal coming.
Okay.
So remember the volume, you know, shape profiles. Do you guys remember the notes from it?
I haven't. I just remember the whole thing.
You should make like a quiz for everybody and have a prize for like the top 3 highest scores.
Yeah, we can do that.
That sounds fun. I feel like I only read it once, but I feel like volume profile is something that everyone asks about a lot, and I think that would be sweet.
Hey, Shorty, can I ask a question? You mentioned about how the current session POC, we don't have enough volume to know much about it until, say, like 1 or 2 p.m. tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
If that POC is below yesterday's POC at 2 p.m., then we could use that as a short entry.
Yeah. Let's say if it stays like this for some reason,
yeah,
once you break below this guy, you're pretty much guaranteed this. all the way to value area low, you're going to get 14 points, 100%. Because there's nothing in there. You know, the volume is ascending here. The value area is below today's value area. There's not many buyers, you know, besides this level where they accumulated. So once they break those buyers down, well, look what happened last time from that area. They dumped it every time. So probably a high chance. So this is an important level right now that they're playing with.
So it would be important to watch for where the POC develops around the prior days. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, here you look at the volume. That's why I say it's going to change. You see the volume that developed this volume profile?
Gone.
There's nothing, guys. It's zero. Now this is all, you know, few guys trading right now. That tells you how much retail is in the terms of volume right here. Just look at it right here compared to here. Retail, hedge funds.
Hedge funds don't trade futures.
Oh, they trade futures. Why not? I'm saying compare the volume between. Hold on. Why is this? Compare the volume between live action and after hours. Usually after hours they don't trade much. They will put one order that literally kills the retail and send it down. And you see retail fighting with these tiny little flakes that they got. Rich people don't work at night.
Yeah.
So last night when we pushed a little bit overnight, there wasn't enough volume to hold up the POC when we started having volume in the morning, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So if you look here, I mean, we can go through it. So on NQ, for instance, NQ actually was more up than ES last night. So if you think here, this was the, so this was the range that we are in the day prior. So let me kind of do the range, meaning the high and low of the day. So this is our range. This is the high, and this was our low. Let's see if I can get this guy. And this is our low of that day, right? But our value area was kind of a lot tighter in here, obviously. 68% of the volume was accumulated here. And you see here, once we break that level right here, what happens? You literally accelerate, you know, towards selling. And that happened, they started at 6:30. So we broke the value area at 8 o'clock. We broke through it.
We retested it, and then boom.
Yeah, you came back here, you claimed the POC, you retested it, and then you literally, you know, no shit's given about the value area low. They came back here a little bit. If you think about it, they dumped it, and what did they do? Let me go in 5 minutes here, so you guys can see it. Look, they dumped it. Where am I? Sorry, I just lost it. Right here. Yep, they dumped it, and look, boop, came back, and retest, and done. Dumped it down. And they dumped it, and obviously there's, you know, there's no, you think about it, if this is our value area low, what did I say? Once you're out of the value area, what happens?
Price moves quickly.
Price moves quickly. And what you do here, send it down, they started building a new value area, then the POC accumulated here, they had a couple of bounces, you know, they tried to probably get it to the value area, rejections, and you're making higher lows, lower highs, you have a triangle, and then, you know, just now, if you're looking at this, whenever you have that, you know, you have a maybe symmetrical triangle in this case, and here's this, you come here, you have a fake break, blah, 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 pop. And this shelf here is fairly large, like right now, you guys see it? This level here, 12,381, that's a pretty big shelf start right here. So that's a pretty good level to keep an eye on NQ. We'll keep that level. Okay, so let's say, So again, we're starting with a lowercase b, means a lot of volume accumulated here. Okay, and here's our value area high from the day prior. You guys see it? And what are we fighting with? Value area high from the prior day.
How many value areas will you use like previous day?
I usually look at like 5 max, like to understand the picture that they're doing.
Cool.
And here, I mean, what do you guys have? Let me switch to 30 minutes. What does this look like to you guys?
Is that not a bear flag?
So definitely a bear flag.
I look. That's on 15:30 hour.
Yeah, definitely a bear flag. It looks like a rising wedge, right, too. So, and now you're building this. Look at this candle here on 30 minutes, guys. Has 6 minutes to close. Oh.
We've seen that before.
Well, actually, I've seen it before 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Right here.
That's what I was saying. Yeah.
You've seen it somewhere here when I pointed it out, and we dumped from there, and then here it is again. And what do you notice about the volume as we are at the top? I know there's not a lot of volume, but you can still notice the difference. Is this the highest, almost highest bar right now? It still has a couple of minutes to complete, but this is the highest volume bar of the session, is it? Session meaning from here to here. Is this the highest volume bar?
So that's a volume
Yes.
anomaly?
Well, it's not volume anomaly yet. We need a little bit more, but it's happening at the top of a bear flag. So that's something to know, and especially when you have a top wick, it's telling you that this is going to be sold off right here. Volume is highest, and the candle, like you said, body is the smallest, and the top wick. And what is the name of this candle? Does anyone know?
Inverse hammer?
No.
Or
Morning
Shooting
star.
morning, evening star.
Hanging man.
The hammer.
Morning star.
Isn't it like pin or something? Pin
It's
bar?
a shooting star.
Mallet.
Gravestone doji.
Hammer. Upside down T.
Who said Gravestone Doji?
Me.
The lady.
Is it a Gravestone Doji?
No.
Yes.
It does not have any wicks on the bottom. I mean, I don't know how it's going to close. Obviously, it's 4 minutes. But if this pushes down a little bit to a flat, it goes on doji, and look what happens. So we're watching this. Pay attention. If it stays like this, it's a hammer. If it pushes down to Gravestone Doji, you cannot have a body in a Gravestone Doji. That's the difference. Hopefully, you guys learn a thing or two just tonight.
Thanks, Shorty.
Yep. So here we got this. Now we can use this point here as a, as our flag or rising wedge. So now if we break this 1381, 12381, there's a high chance we're going to go where?
POC.
The POC.
There's a high chance you're going to go back to this July cumulative POC of 12316. And then, since you would be entering the previous day value area here, if you stay like this, I mean, not a big deal because you're still inside the value area. But if they break it, above it, hold it a little bit, and then come back in, there's a high chance you go back all the way to value area low, but it's still not in play. We need to run outside of it. We need to be outside the value area. And then this is our previous day value area low. And then here, we're probably going to have some volume nodes just from today. So if they decide to run this, there's probably a good rejection coming up here at 12482. You can probably put your stop loss somewhere at 12516. It's 20 points, risk. So your reward should be 40 points for the one minimum. And it just depends how we do tomorrow, because this is the value area low as well from 2 days prior. So if they approach this here, there's probably a high chance they're going to be rejected. And they're struggling just with the prior day, yet alone the next day. Just think about it. People have to agree to go from this price to the next price. And then when they come here, they have to agree that they're going to accept it inside the value and stay here. there's two things that have to happen. You have to agree that this is more valuable first, and then you have to say, yeah, it has to stay inside this area here because we accept it. Well, I don't know how they feel about accepting it. Last time they weren't so friendly to it. They dumped it from the area. So this seller here, how would I know where to sell now? I'm giving you a quick lesson on the trend. If the trend here, they sold it, how would I know where they're going to sell it? You don't know this data here. You don't know any of this. The only thing you know is this. From here to the right. How do I know? How do I know where to sell? We're trending down. Right?
Top to bottom volume profile.
Yeah. So whenever you want to know where they're going to sell, you do this, and you want to know where the next volume node is in this. So it's going to be definitely a lowercase b, and you see here, you have this level here at 1246, but really the node sticks out kind of right at this level. So if we do come to 12554 or 52, then you see that kind of lines up with that POC from prior day or two. So that means they might accept it inside the area right here, but they might be selling the heavy because that's where the buyer was. Oh, I'm sorry, where the seller was. And you see, I taught you guys something about these indecision candles. This is where the imbalance happened, right? Some people call it fair value gaps or whatnot above it. But you see that this is where the imbalance, the big candle exploded from here. So there's a high chance that they push it up here and you literally get slapped right here. So this would be the area. This would be a great short re-entry on this guy. And when I say that, I don't mean it for swings because I'm looking only on 2 days, guys. I cannot swing off of 2 days. Okay. So here we really need to, break this 12-4-3-4, get in, and then you have free space here, guys. This literally is gonna just run from here to here. This is our honey pot. This is our money maker right here. You break, come back, and ideally what they do, if they're so nice, they come back here, reject it, reject that little value area that we have, or go above it, come back, and then we kind of go here, and we could catch, what is this, 60 points? 60 points on that Q, guys, is a shitload of cash. Okay, does that make sense to everyone? And the more you practice this, the more you'll look at it, right? The more you learn about the profiles and then just the Wyckoff, the accumulation and this and that, it's going to make a lot more sense. So hopefully, this is not the only time you see and practice volume profile. Okay, so clear on plan here or no?
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, Shorty, this is irrelevant. Why does Earth use Apple for SPX?
Apple makes 7.5% of S&P 500. So the influence of moving Apple is, that's a lot.
And sometimes it leads, right?
Yeah,
like, is that the highest holder? Like, is that the most, like, you know what I'm trying to say? Who holds the most in SPX? Oh. Makes sense.
If these three are moving, everything else is moving. And even today, if you, I don't know why I'm on echo. I have echo, so if you're not speaking, go on mute, please. Yep. So here's Apple. What do you notice right off the bat on Apple here? Anyone?
Gap.
I mean, it has a shitload of gaps, but there's one more thing that I told you.
Downtrend?
Definitely downtrend. If you're going up or down,
There's an accumulation, right?
You should not be leaving a lot of epochs. Whenever you're building properly, you should not leave a lot of epochs. And so far, I mean, there's a lot of epochs being kind of left here on Apple. So is there a chance that Apple is gonna run from here? Where is this level? So it has, this is July, so the July value area high is at 154. And then we had this guy right here. So this whole thing becomes our zone. So is there a chance tomorrow that they dump this and then they start running up? Yeah, there's definitely a chance here. They could run it up all the way to this value area high, which should be a 160, well, value area low, sorry, at 160. So dump it here, go to 160, that would be a nice 3 points, and that would push the S&P probably to that, 40, whatever level that we had earlier. Let me make sure I remember it. So 40.20 all the way to about 40.45, and then all the way to 40.88, if that's the case. So Apple has a good look to go rebound here soon. And then if you think about it, right, so let me go on 4 hours. Look at Apple and just look at the, let me make sure it's not extending POC or this. Okay, so if you look at July POC, the imbalance started right here at 145. So where would you really start swinging short on Apple? Anyone?
We re-enter July value area.
Yeah, once you enter here, guys, there's a high chance that they're going to bring it back to its knees, another like $10, $12. If that happens, great. But then they could also come back here once we can come back here, and they could retest it, right? So the best way to know that and to kind of look at it and see, hey, where you guys been buying the most? So it looks like the highest level volume happened at 165. When you're running up, you want the volume to shift slowly into a P shape because that means kind of like a reversal. And now you see that we hit what on Apple?
Skinny belly.
It was a skinny belly, but it was a gap, right? So there's a gap between here and here. Of course, the volume's not there. So we hit the volume, so we filled the gap. Usually the gaps get protected. So this level here is fairly important on Apple. And let's see. We bounce right off of it. Let me see. I would probably put it there. Maybe put it here. Off of that. I don't know if that's a shelf or... And look at this. And that's simple, right? We hit the volume node right there and it bounced. And then you see that there's another node here that's right there. So we probably will get a bounce here tomorrow on Apple. I would expect a relief tomorrow. And I don't know who's speaking from those people, but I would expect a bounce tomorrow. And the more you realize, and I'm just going to give you this, that you should not care. You should not have emotional attachment to which way the market's going to go up or down. Who cares? Do you care? In my head, when I just don't give a shit if it's going to go up.
No.
Unless you have, a couple of $100 million exposure in your long portfolio and you're not hedged at all, then, you might want to care a little bit. But for a lot of, guys that are trading day to day, you trade what it's giving you. You should not be biased in the morning, man, I want it to go down. No, the market's not going to really listen to one person what it should do. So you should come in every morning, hey, this is my scenario for long side. This is my scenario for the short side. If this breaks, I go long. If this breaks, I go short. And that's it. You do not
Well,
take
they're making money. It doesn't matter if it's up or down.
Exactly. And you should really stop FOMO trading based off no levels. You should buy at some support and sell at some resistance. If the price is somewhere in between, right, if you're trying to short here or long here, you're gambling. And just look today, if you traded SPX, today alone, I'm just going to go on 5 minutes here. I'm going to hide all of it. So here's your SPX today, right? So I'm just looking at 2 days, just kind of give you an idea. The low of the day, initial balance low, happened to be here. The high of the day was here. So that's our previous day high, previous day low. Could you use fibs to kind of project the levels off of these? You know, of course you can. I'm trying to do my best to get it. Somehow my magnet is crap. Okay, so you could use kind of fibs to figure this out, and somebody's fucking with my fibs here.
I saw Catching Rockets had the levels. It had pretty much just what you have there.
Yep, so now if I look right, I just grabbed the high and low of the day for the fibs, and look, 127 hit perfectly, 1618 break, and if you add 2272 here, it's probably going to be a perfect hit as well. Very close. Not perfect, but 200 would be somewhere here. So all of these levels would have worked just off the fibs, but you know, screw the fibs for a moment. Let me just delete this. So now we know the low of the day was here. We never really retested this area. So if you think about ES levels that we talked about, does anyone remember a 4016 level off our chart? Right there. So now we go here and we're like, oh, okay, well, previous day low on SPX is at 4017, very close to that 416. So if we decide to run up, let's say you're able to break this 4,000, which we were talking about on ES just now, that broke and held and retested right here. We needed to go a little bit higher, come back. That makes sense then that we have a nice little run up here if you break this, because if you think about naked trading, right? So you have a lower high, here you still have a lower high. And if you connect these lower highs, this will be how, you know, how it looks. Here's your triangle. So there's two ways to enter on a naked chart today. How you could have, you know, I'm just giving you a scenario for tomorrow more so than anything. Tomorrow you have an entry here. It should be go long because now you're taking out two previous lower highs and you're breaking the structure a little bit. And then here is your short entry. So this would be, you know, pretty much like a textbook. Hey, I'm going short, I'm going long. You go long here, you go short here. And this is just 5 minutes, right? And if you're not really familiar with candles and whatnot, and you're like, oh man, fish flash sheet candles, it makes it so much easier for you to see. What do you see here on 15 minutes now? What does this look like? Well, I mean, you can't go wrong to say that we are not accumulating or something. Does it pattern-wise, does it look like a bear flag? Yeah, but we're consolidating here. There's no movement. It's hard to trade this, and here you have to be fairly quick, right? So 4,000 to we hit 39.66, that's a good range, but I don't think we're going to stay in this range tomorrow. So the break of this range is going to kind of dictate which way we go. And once we break this range here, we have 14 points up. And then once we break this range here, we said that we have, I think it was 39.33 or 39.50 and then 39.33 on next. But simply, if you use, you know, let's say 3 minutes, if you use for trading today, there's multiple ways you could have kind of played this. You had an accumulation here. Once you broke this zone here, you know, it was a quick little dump from here to here. And what I like to do usually on something like this is you can use the fibs right here. You could go to this level right here and play these 127, play the extensions. Why is it not? Somebody's messing with me. Okay. And you play the extensions, right? Here you would have hit 127 and 1618 and you would have been done. We never really broke it. So that was one way you could have gotten in. Then you're making lower highs. You know, you're making lower highs here. And if you're a scalper, right, so most people would have taken this trade here. You break this, you put a stop loss right below this low here of this candle, and, you know, you would have made decent points here. You know, 3986, 403, Earth makes a living out of it, and so do I. So then, you know, if you look at it, right, so here was the low initially for the low. Once you came back here, look how the retest worked. Whoop, we popped, and then you look at the lower highs, right? So this is pretty much the highest high right here after the sell-off. Then you see the next one, It's right here. So we never broke that one. We had a nice little pin bar in 3 minutes. So if you're going to break the structure here at 403 is super, super important. And then you see here, as you're going down, you're making lower highs, higher lows. So these levels become fairly important, for day trading. If you look at this, this is your, lower high here compared to this, and this is your higher lows right now. So if this one breaks, there's a high chance that you're going to continue down and go to the previous low. So here's this. So this would mean that we have a lower high and what? If you break this level, what does that mean? A lower high plus lower low is what?
Downtrend.
We are going to be in a downtrend. So if you got in here on the break of this or on a retest, whatever that is, you have a nice little wick that's telling you, oh, very aggressive here. You put a stop loss right here. And if you took this trade, you know where your exit is. As soon as you approach this area, you exit. And, here would have been a great exit because it's 39.70. And you would have gotten out there. So what are you talking about? Almost 17 points drop here. And just make it trading. You have lower highs. You're making higher lows. Once you take out this low, you already have lower highs. That means you're in a bearish trend. And that was easy. And you see the level was fairly important for the remainder of the action here. We kind of got stuck, came back, and we're still, we never closed it. I guess we closed right above it. But that's naked trading, and, I hold classes on this to explain it, and this happens on pretty much all the time frames you guys can think of, right? So from 1 hour, if you look at 1 hour, there's, your higher high, lower high. Here's your low, new lower low, lower high, new lower low, and then you just keep going on. So now, our latest low is right here. So once this one breaks, right, there's a high chance you're going to be revisiting this guy here. And that's how, the naked traders trade. If you break this, and here, you guys see that there's supposedly some gap here, 39.52 to here. Let me just check this. Yeah, there's a little gap on volume. So once we enter this zone, there's a high chance you're going to go to this 39.10. Does anyone remember any of these levels that resemble what we talked about in ES?
July POC, right?
Yep. So we said the July POC. Once we break below that, 39.47 will be our confirmation to add full position. And does this level match 39.13? 39.10.
Yeah.
So there's many ways, to skin the cat and to trade, but as long as you're using volume at some point and you understand the market structure, it's going to make your life so much easier. If you're fairly new, I would suggest that you, for the time being, you really don't do much more than what you have on what I have on the chart right now. Find the support and resistance on multi-time frames, for instance. Start off with the day, right? Look at the day supply, look at the daily levels, mark the higher lows, lower highs, and whatnot, and add them there. Then go into like 4 hours and see if there's any levels that you missed. For instance, you see this level is fairly important. Once we dipped it, we broke it. So now, we have a kind of unfinished business at this level. So once we break this level, 152, there's probably a high chance, that we're going to go somewhere in the 144, 150 area. So 147, and then what I do once I identify these levels, so let's say I'm looking, if there's a chance we go to 144, I would just simply go and look at this and see what does it say. So we bounced off exactly kind of where you would anticipate to bounce. You took this whole run up here, and look, we bounced perfectly there. So now if we lose this level, you short for a retest, there's a high chance you're going to dump here all the way down because the volume is getting tighter or less. There's a high chance you're going to be coming down here. So that's kind of how I look at it. So this level would be confirmed for me because it's also POC, and the volume kind of holds off. If we are able to, let's say, reclaim this level here and you're scalping 150.61, take that long to 160.53, but I would get out at 160.53. And then same thing on the selling side, you want to wait, you know, hey, where are these sellers? So is there a chance that we can now catch a lot of guys that are in the puts, catch them on the wrong side? Yeah. I mean, think about it. If you get a $20 run, all these guys that are in 140s, 130 puts, they're toast. They're literally zero.
Shorty, someone just asked a question, and I had the same question. What was that PVP, periodic volume profile?
Yeah, so simply what I do is it gives me, you know, if you click on, go on mute, Ryan, while I'm talking, because it echoes on my head.
Yeah, I know, my bad.
Yeah, so if you go on PVP, it's basically periodic volume profile. I can tell it to give me a weekly volume profile. So if I change this to weekly here, you see how many I get. Now it's calculating volume profile for each week instead of me looking for fixed profile every day and finding the week. Well, now I know the previous weekly profile, it's actually a VPOC at 172. So weekly VPOC at 172.44. Right. So, and if I change this guy, let's say I want to look at, you know, monthlies. So now I know that the monthly POC on this guy is at 185.11. That's current. And if you just let me remove this. So here you'll be able to see where do we bounce off of this stock? What is it in the video? So look at this. Same story as I told you guys earlier. We popped, we created a big imbalance here. We had a nice little POC here. And you see here that this seller here was fairly active, right? This guy made them believe they're going to go higher. They trapped a lot of guys here, and then they were basically engaged in selling. This guy was like, okay, welcome, and basically sold a shitload. Because whenever you have a P-shaped volume profile in a downtrend, it means what?
Imbalance.
Reversal.
It means what?
Imbalance.
I said possible reversal.
Yeah, or a short covering.
No, sure.
So just keep that in mind, right? And usually, you know, once you have one P-shaped volume profile, you need the next one to be also in P-shape where the buyers are heavily aggressive and take out the previous highs and the POCs. So keep that in mind when you look at these POCs. So here, if we break below this, you have value area low. And then if you just kind of scan through here, we've been really in this area for some time right now. I mean, forever. So this is a really, so when you see, look how many months, and I remember this, how many months already accumulated here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. It accumulated at this level here. I'm just drawing it roughly, right? So what would the Wyckoff theory tell you to do here in terms of shares? It would tell you to start accumulating, and the majority of the accumulation happened here. So I was to draw a fixed volume profile from here to here. Oh, there it goes. This is pretty good level to be looking for some shares. So
you buy, right?
Yeah, I would buy shares here definitely. PVP enables me to see fixed profile. You know, these are all the monthly levels. I'm able to see a bigger picture. If I'm buying shares or if I'm buying, you know, a little bit time, like swing entries, or if I just want to know where are the key levels that are coming up. As you saw, the July POC, I mean, worked nicely here. So we know where exactly the bounces can happen. Usually monthly POCs, monthly value area lows and highs are fairly important in terms of bigger picture when you start selling heavily and stuff like we're doing now. And then weekly POC, the same thing. They carry a lot of weight, and you want to know where's the imbalances on the weekly, right? So, and change this. Let's say I put weekly. We're going to get a couple of days of this week right now. And you see here that we broke it right below this value area low, right? So if you want to get back inside this value area low on the weekly, there's a high chance that you're going to go here and then. If they are able to bring it in here, there's a high chance that it goes to 159. And I'll take a bet on this any time of day with anyone. it just works. And every time you get into the value area, the magnet right here is going to pull it up. And you see here, you know, we didn't really have any value area between here and here. There's no value areas. You know, we had this guy here at this level, and it acted a little bit as a support. I had the little lick here, but really, majority of the value area highs were at this level. And look, from here to here, it was a clear dump. And you could probably use the buying thing right here to see where exactly happened. And look, there's no volume from here, you know, accelerated all the way down. And then you came to this volume shelf now here, but you're back to this POC. And if you learn anything, you know, from me, just use the volume accumulation setup. You're going to make a killing. You grab it from this run up. I'm just grabbing a trend up. And look at this. Most people are looking short tomorrow. I don't think we should short tomorrow. Look at this. What do you think the big boys are doing here? So this buyer, guys, this is exactly what he's telling you. Hey, I have a long position in this area, and I'm willing to fight for it.
He's going to defend it.
He's going to defend this area, guys. I mean, if he was able to create an imbalance from 152 to 196, you don't think he's going to go back in here if he's still long and not defend it? Man, you're crazy. And that's just that's how the trading works from the non-retail side. And short in the video tomorrow, unless it breaks this level right here, 151. All right, guys. Well, hopefully this was a good lesson for some of you. If you're new, just be patient. I know some of this can be a little bit intimidating because not a lot of people use volume profile. And the only thing I learned, you know, from my mentors is there's only two things that move. It's the price and the volume. All the other stuff is relevant.
Thanks a lot, Shorty.
All right, guys. Well, hopefully
Thanks, Shorty.
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Thank you, Shorty. Bye.
All right, Shorty.
Night.